So this is actually the second time today that I'm shooting this vlog because today had an interesting turn of events because of last night's interesting turn of events. And today's episode, I figured, should be about the Jeep. Last time we saw each other when I was out in Canaan Valley, the Jeep was getting towed because the front driver's side shock got completely annihilated when we were out there. Had to get it towed, and it ended up getting repaired within like 2 days. It wasn't that expensive of a repair, and it was fine, it was ready to go, and by the time I was leaving Canaan Valley, I was driving back in the Jeep. Close to a month passed after that. Drove it all around the state of Maryland for a few other projects, took it up to East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania for a gig, and you know, we drove pretty much everywhere in this car for like the next month. And then I was working at a real estate job down south of Ellicott City, and I went over another pothole, and basically the same issue that had happened out in Canaan Valley happened again, but much, much worse. The repair on Canaan Valley was really only temporary, and the guy who repaired it told me that it was temporary and said, hey, you should probably get this looked at. This isn't going to be a forever repair. And I didn't really take that seriously, which is my fault 100%. And then the Ellicott City gig happened, and then basically the Jeep was out of commission. The mechanic quoted the job being a $1,200 repair, which I didn't really have the money to put down for a repair like that at the time. And basically at that point, I really knew that that was the end for me in this car. So now I'm in the new Jeep. This is the one that I actually bought shortly after that one went down, but it was 3 weeks without a car before I even purchased another car. I ended up buying this Jeep shortly after. I know it's kind of weird. This is my third Jeep actually. The first one was a 99, the next one was a 2000, and then this most recent one, the one right now, is a 2001. And I believe this is my last chance to drive a Jeep Cherokee before they really stopped making Jeep Cherokees like this. It's a pretty decent car minus all the crap in the back. It's a very awesome car actually. This thing had 128,000 miles on it when I bought it. I think I've put like 2,000 on it since because I've literally just been driving it everywhere and using it for any kind of gig and any kind of transportation that I need. It's been out to Canaan Valley with me and made the trip back without any issues whatsoever. There are a couple of downsides about this guy though. One of the major ones being is that the key fob does not work every now and then, which is not really that big of an issue. When I drove my very first Jeep, the key fob didn't really work at all, so I really just used the key the whole time. So it's kind of like a throwback to the original Jeep with this one, if that makes any sense. And for the first time last night, I ran into an issue with this guy. Now what had happened was the car basically wouldn't start on my way out to leave. I was trying to go get a hard drive last night and I couldn't start this car, so my dad came over, he tried to help me jump the car. We couldn't jump start it, so we figured, okay, maybe this thing needs a new battery. You know, we went over to a local NTB, which is literally right over there. They told us that it probably isn't the battery, it's probably the alternator, so we went next door to an AutoZone, bought a new alternator, tried to come back, put it in. We couldn't really put in the new alternator because it was in a not so easily accessible spot to replace it in, if that makes any sense, I'm not sure. So we ended up having it towed this morning to go to the repair shop so they could put in the new alternator, which is this thing right here. And then my dad gets a call from the repair shop. The repair shop says, you know, it wasn't the alternator, it was the battery. You could have just replaced the battery. And that is something that we totally could have done at home, but nope, because we thought it was the alternator. So I am here back at the AutoZone to return the alternator and get a little bit of money back because I ended up dropping close to $500 just on this. With this, I get a little bit of that money back. Return complete. I got that all taken care of now. I really don't know exactly where to go with this video other than just to say I really like Jeeps. I don't know, it was just so difficult that last time. When the old Jeep went down, it hit me really, really hard. And I was in such a funk for the longest time too, that I didn't think I was gonna be able to drive another Jeep. I really didn't know what my next car was gonna be. I couldn't see myself driving anything else. It was like limbo, but with cars. When I found this car, I was a little skeptical of it. It was a little bit out of my price range, but luckily with the help of my parents, I managed to get this car. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for helping me pay for this car. This car has been pretty good so far. I haven't had any major issues with it, other than last night, about a week ago, have a little accident with a deer. Unfortunately, the deer didn't make it. Car didn't really have all that much damage. It got a little crack in the front. Crack's like that big, it's not too big. Like I said, it made it out to Canaan and made it back. It's been pretty much all over Maryland so far, and this Jeep's shaping up to be a pretty good car, so I'm quite happy about that. There's really nothing fancy about the inside of this car. It has pretty much all the same stuff here, minus a different radio, and I mean, but that, I really don't mess with that all too much. Everything here on the dash is the same, except the only difference is this little joystick right here that controls my cruise control, but I never really use that, so I don't really mind with that. But for the most part, everything on the inside of this car is generally the same. Nothing's complicated, nothing really changed all too much. It's really the exact same car that I was driving before, just it's blue. And I think if there's anything major to really take away, it's that, like I said, that's not a real fancy car. If anything, the only new or the only real step up from the last Jeep that I had was the mileage on it. There was 128 miles on that car when I bought it. Really, that's the major difference about this car, other than it being kept up a lot better. There's not rust all on the underside, and the frame of the car is not all rusted. I don't know how long that one is going to last me, but I hope it lasts me at least another couple of years, not just 1 year like all the other cars have. I'm hoping that this one will keep me safe, but regardless, it's exactly what I need. I don't need anything fancy. It is perfect. It is the perfect car for me. But I didn't want to get something that was totally out of this world and fancy bells and whistles and whatnot. I just wanted a very simple, basic Jeep. So that's really why I wanted another one. That's really why I love the Cherokee, why I love the Jeep Cherokee, and why I love the car that I'm driving and the ones that I have driven before. Now, I guess this video is sort of all over the place with me talking about the old Jeep and then the new Jeep and whatever else just happened in the last 24 hours with this thing having to get to repair. But if you notice, a good portion of this video was not shot on my fancy DSLR. Instead, it was shot on my phone. And that just goes to show you that you don't need all this crazy fancy stuff to get your job done. You just need something very basic. I tell people this all the time, that your best camera is the one you have on you. And when people say, oh, I don't have a DSLR, I don't have, you know, a fancy camera, I say, well, you have a phone, right? And they're like, yeah. I say, does it take pictures? Yes. Then that's your best camera. That's what you use. Use whatever you can at your disposal to make something. Even if it is your phone, use it. Anyways, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.